Hello, my horde. I haven't had myself together, to actually get any scripted content done after I had to scrap the last scripted video, which I may still get the inspiration to rework and at least, touch on the topic. But, whatever. So right now, I've got a little bit of time to vlog, so I'm just gonna vlog. So really I'm just gonna, talk about the media I've been consuming recently. So I'm just gonna start with video games, because that's what I was doing last night. So, lately I've been playing, not a big surprise, one of the bigger games that came out in the last couple of months, Fantasy Life I, The Girl Who Steals Time. And I have actually been enjoying that quite a bit, actually. It is exactly like my kind of game, except I haven't been able to do a lot of the farming yet. I thought it is different than I would have expected, and it's in a good way. That actual RPG and story can take a big front seat if you want it to. At a certain point, the game tosses you into the overworld map Ginormosia, where there's dungeons and creatures and gathering. But actually, after that first time the game sent me there intentionally, I haven't actually gone back to that area yet, because I've just been doing the next story quest and the next story quest, and the story hasn't sent me back there. So I haven't gone back there. But one of the little things that I've run up against that was kind of frustrating me. So I took the fishing life. I got my little license or whatever, and did the opening thing. And it seems so in your beginning area in the past, whatever that place is called, I'm gonna forget all the names of all of the places because I don't really care what they're called. I just go there, do thing. But yeah, it seems like all the fishing in the first area goes to maybe level 6. So I'm level 10 fishing. And then the next island it sends you to, there are level 20 fish that you just can't freaking catch. Or at least I can't. Maybe it's a skill issue. Who knows? But I've been just there's gotta be something I'm missing. And maybe the in-between fish that are, not level 3, so they, don't give you enough experience to, only have to grind through a few of them. Maybe they're in Ginormosia. But I just won't go there. I refuse to go there. I'm no. Everything I want to do is out here. There's nothing I want to do over there, because I wasn't there long enough to, decide there was something cool to do there, even though I know that there's stuff to do there. But I'm just why would I go there? Story says go here. Because I do get that. If the story really... If it's up to you to break story progression and then just go screw around, I have difficulty doing that, because I'm well, this is the next task, and this is the next task. But if it's a little more you stumble into the next piece of the story, then it's really easy to ignore. And that's kind of what I thought Fantasy Life would be, because I never played the original. But I don't hate it, because I don't dislike linear RPGs where you go point to point to point. And crafting is a side thing. But it's about as well integrated as you want it to be. It is very much player choice, especially because it seems you can just, most things people are I need 3 grilled fish for a side quest, and you can actually just go buy 3 grilled fish and hand that to them and be saved you a trip to the store. And that's always funny. But it seems there's a lot of... I'm sure that there's stuff that you can't do that as much with, that I just haven't run into, because I'm sure my, like, total game time is, like, 8 hours or less. Like, I really have not had a lot of time to play, because I do split my hobby time, which is limited. You know, I'm home, I have about 1 free hour in the morning and, like, 2 free hours at night most days. Some days I have a little bit more free time, and some days I have quite a lot less. So it just gets split up based on, like, what am I feeling right this second. Because I have also been spending a lot of time diamond painting. I am working on just a ginormous monster of a diamond painting that I really do not even really expect to finish by the end of the year at this rate. I would like to, because I very much want to put it on the wall. But yeah, I've got, like, it's like 3 feet by 2 feet. And I've got, like, one vertical row. So 1 2-foot row by about, like, 4 inches. And I've started the second one, so I have, like, a little square done, and then a starting of a square. And I'm not sure, I'd have to look it up when I started that, but yeah, it's going slow. It's also, like, a lot of the colors, it'll be like there are, like, 4 of this color here. I had to work, like, in a whole different pattern. I've done 3 other diamond paintings before this one, and I had to, like, work out a whole other system. Because usually I would just, like, in my section, I'm either gonna do, like, what's touching the last section, like, what's moving up into, like, there's more rows of this color here, so we'll start there and then dot it up where it is up there to, like, try to get things, like, lined up good. But there's so many colors in just a small block on this one that I actually, so I have everything in jars that are in a tower tray, tower of trays, like drawers. So I just take out the first drawer, slap it down, and I'm like, okay, color number 1, is any of this here? And I go down the line like that. And so it's just whatever color is, like, first in the color order, that's the color I'm gonna do. Okay, that was a brief shift into crafting world, which I didn't mean to bounce around in this video, but because there's no script or outline, my brain is free to just come forth. So we'll put a pin in other crafting projects to go back to video games real quick, because the only other video game I've really been playing in the past couple of months is actually Dorfromantik, which is kind of like single-player Carcassonne. Except Carcassonne is squares, and the reason I started to say Settlers of Catan is because hexagons, and Dorfromantik is hexagons. But yeah, you just, like, lay little tiles down and build forests and fields and cities and rivers and train tracks and brick paths, and it's just really, really soothing. Like, it's a nice, like, you think, like, because it isn't like thoughtless, like, it's strategic and stuff, but it's just, like, relaxing. It's at your own pace. Like, you can take forever to decide to put down a tile. It just feels good. I don't know, it just feels really, really good. And, like, how many more tiles you can get is based on achieving objectives that are on tiles you put down. So you can end up going for quite some time. And I just like that. I like that in a video game. Okay, and since I already touched on crafting, we'll hop back into crafting. I fell for it. I fell for the coloring trend. Not so much, well, coloring talk by way of Instagram, because I don't actually have a TikTok. I have Instagram, but so much TikTok content is just uploaded to Instagram Reels, either by the original person who was posting to TikTok, or, you know, these repost accounts that exist on every site ever. And yeah, I got a little bit got. I did not buy the Ohuhu markers. You know, $200 for like a giant set of markers wasn't in the budget right now. I actually bought my markers at Home Goods and Marshalls. And they have like, it's literally, hold on. Like, it's literally this set. Like, it was like $12.99. It's, I like the color spread in here. They clearly were already marketing to, like, kids who like anime. Like, how to draw manga, yeah! Just some cheap alcohol-based markers. I have another little set that's fewer than that, and it's a different brand, but also from, that was the one I got at Marshall's. The other one was from Home Goods. Same company, same parent company for both of those stores, if you didn't know. So, like, they usually all have a few of the same items, and it just depends on, you know, that particular location and what got sent where, and all of that. And technically each little store under the, like, TJX brands has, like, a focus, but then it will have some of the other stuff that all of the other stores have. Anyway, so, like, I went cheap with the markers. I bought one coloring book on Amazon. Just one. For now. Which I actually haven't been brave enough to actually color in. I have actually traced out and done on a separate piece of paper, coloring in some of those designs, because I have the fear of messing it up. I will eventually have the confidence to actually color in that book, because it's actually really tiring to copy out the whole thing, because I would trace it onto some tracing paper and then trace it onto some marker-worthy paper from that. So, you know, I did that twice, and I was like, you know what, this isn't it. But I'm still doing some practice pages in my sketchbook, which I almost got because they, lots of artists have made these, but little, like, how to draw, like, how to color, like, more so than how to draw, like, how to color patterns, how to color practice coloring book, which is a little bit nice because it is, like, the same paper that their coloring books are printed on, because it's the same print on demand, like, Amazon system printing them. And I'm like, oh, and they're so cute, and they have these, like, little pre-drawn squares for you to, like, do your little test in, and then they'll have the little, like, sample pieces where it'll be like a little cloud or a little star, and you fill in the color, and it's got the line next to it, and you write down what the color is so you have all the colors that you used in this particular gradient, this particular night sky practice. But, folks, you don't need the pre-printed pages. And this is the thing. Do I still want it? Yes, I absolutely still want it, and that could be a future purchase, but I'm at a point where I have actively decided to try to budget my, like, crafting, entertainment, fun money, and the very first month that I gave myself this budget, I spent the whole budget in the first week of July. Now, that is because I found some like, truly, for me, must-have old games that were being sold for more than I think they should be, but Also, it's pretty fair market price. It wasn't like I was gonna get a better price from a used game specific store. I might stumble onto somebody who doesn't know exactly what they have and like be able to like get it a little bit cheaper, but that would have taken time, or I would have had to be like bidding on stuff on eBay. So no. I paid I paid the money. But yeah, so I'm like, oh. Okay. But this is why I'm doing this experiment with myself. Budgeting is not really experimenting, but this is why I'm doing this exercise with myself of like, I set an amount that is probably still more than I like should be spending in a month, but like, do not spend more than that this month. I haven't. It's date of filming this, it is the 21st of July. I have not gone over budget. God, do I want to. But yeah, I got lost on a tangent. We'll see where we cut back to me having a moment of clarity. But because of doing this exercise with the budgeting, I wasn't letting myself just go, oh, well, I'll just buy that. Because I want it. And I do still want it. And I like took a step back and I went, you don't need the practice pages, because there are plenty of little coloring tutorials on Instagram. Some of these accounts that sell these books put one or two of these tutorials on their Instagram with like a full, like, here's all the colors they used in exactly the example they're doing. And it's not that hard to find something to trace around or to make a stencil. So I actually started tracing around my washi cards. These are little thin metal cards. I've seen some plastic ones, and sometimes people make thicker acrylic ones. I have a few of those too, but those are fun shapes. But these probably aluminum. These metal ones are a really nice size. It's like 2 by 3.5 or whatever, you know, roughly. Bad estimate, but there we are. And I flap that down, trace around it, and so I have my box that I'm doing my sample in. And I have several other stencils that I already have from journaling and scrapbooking and stuff. And I just picked a shape that I liked. I picked like a little flower shape, and you trace the little flower shape, and then it's not like lines like down like notebook lines on that stencil, but on that stencil there is something that is a short line, or that I can make a short line with. It's like little diagonal boxes, actually, but if I just do the one side, it's a line. And you can orient it whatever way you want. And then I do my lines, and then I have, essentially, the same sheet, and I just go to the Instagram tutorial, and I follow it. And I know that that's not like a revelation, that's not a hack, that's just how artists have worked for thousands of years. Like, you just practice. You have paper, you have medium, whatever it is, and you just practice. But I can also copy that aesthetic that is, like, the aesthetics of it are part of what is, like, really appealing about the whole, like, cutesy coloring nonsense. Because, no, and there's nothing wrong with wanting to do the cutesy coloring thing. We are having that whole problem of trend hopping and, like, automatically dumping hundreds and hundreds of dollars into your next hobby. And I'm not immune. I'm not immune. We're sitting in my craft room, where there are just thousands of dollars worth of items. Now, this is not all stuff that I all, like, you know, dropped money on all at once, obviously, but, like, I have the resin stuff that I only use from time to time, although don't tell me that I don't use it, because I do. I made these recently. Do I have a lot of it for someone who only does it sometimes? Yes. It was still over, like, 2 or 3 years that I was more intensely into it, that I gathered what I have. And I mean, obviously, if you have the $200 to drop on Ohuhu markers, and that's, like, what you really, really want to do, great. Those are not going to have a lot of resale value if you do kind of fall out of love with the craft really quickly. So yeah, I kind of agree with a lot of advice out there that's like, don't jump immediately to the most expensive version of the craft. And I know that there's also the issue that, like, you buy a bunch of the cheap stuff, you find out you really like it, you get kind of frustrated with having the cheap product and not being able to achieve, because sometimes it really is the difference, like, you really can't achieve the effects with the cheaper stuff. So it is very hit and miss, but I think going, like, what is the color palette I'm most attracted to, and buying the 8-pack of Ohuhus that are, like, this is the color palette I'm gonna start with. If I'm enjoying that enough that I'm finding myself super frustrated that I don't have other colors, then we'll think about buying the, like, 50-pack or whatever it is that the $200 Ohuhu package is. I guess also, like, if you have the money and the desire, like, whatever, don't we don't get to tell you what to do. But I try to do that with myself sometimes. But also sometimes I'm like, I really don't want to work with cheap stuff. Because I know how frustrating it can get sometimes. But yeah, that was a really, really long tangent on I started coloring. Which is, it's nice to take the pressure off of having to, like, draw. Because I draw sometimes. I go through phases where I draw. I don't draw often enough to be good at drawing, so, like, coloring in what I've drawn isn't always exciting. Because it's not always good. But, yeah, it's nice, it's relaxing. It's a sometimes thing, though. It's definitely not an all the time. Like, it's not taking over my other hobbies in the long term. And I know that. And although I do have some, like, old coloring books that I didn't need to buy one new coloring book. But it's legit, like, the, like, newsprint coloring books that are for crayons, and I did want to do with the markers, and try to achieve some of the techniques that are so, so cute. And as far as reading lately, I just haven't been reading as much, and not stuff that's for talking about. So, like, not any of the, like, licensed novels and stuff that I'm usually reading, like, for videos. This is all stuff that's, like, not for videos. It's just for me. And it's just not the kind of stuff you talk about, unless you do. But that would be, like, a niche. It would be very niche, and a niche I'm not in and don't necessarily want to be in right now, so I'm gonna talk about it. So I haven't read that much. Okay, I guess as far as films, we haven't really been watching a lot of actual movies. I feel like there's something I have forgotten and also forgot to write down, but like the last movie I have written down that my husband and I watched was How to Kill Monsters. I don't know when that came out. I think that was a little older. It was just something we watched, which was interesting. Interesting as a dark comedy. Interesting as a... I don't know. I guess a lot of it has kind of faded. It's just it's a twist movie. So it's difficult to talk about unless I intend to spoil. But it was not bad. I don't remember thinking it was bad. Like I said, apparently that was all the way back in May. And it seems like I have not watched a film since then. That's fine. Sometimes you're just not into movies. And a bunch of the movies that I have been interested in coming out, I will not go to a theater anymore, like a cinema, because I already wasn't liking that before, the pandemic even. I'm just, like, especially the way they're building all the theaters to have those awful leather seats. Other people like those. I'm happy for y'all. I hate them. I hate leather seating. Or pleather seating. And I hate the whole, like, overstuffed recliner. Like, some of us, when we are in public, don't want to be slouched down into the world's, like, weirdest poofy couch. I like old cinema seats. They were fine. They were literally fine. Like, I'm like, no, if I think I need to be, like, super relaxed and kicking my feet up and blah, 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 I don't feel like doing that in public. I'm gonna do it at home. I'm gonna wait for streaming. So, films, and that has an unfortunate impact. Like, you should, because films are still judged by their box office, and their, like, opening weekends and stuff. So, like, you should go see stuff to support it. I'm never actually, I'm usually working, like, on when films release anyway. Like, I work most of the weekend. The chances of me contributing to the first weekend box office anyway are small. So I'm just not a participant in all of that. But yeah, so, like, some of the movies that, have come out recently that I'm, like, very excited for and want to see. Actually, one of them did just start streaming, Sinners. I do want to see Sinners. Hasn't released in theaters yet, but really would like to go see, not to go see, but would like to see together. Hopefully they don't put out a third trailer. That's a whole other rant. Anyway, I have a rant that I am gonna do, because I tried to do it short enough to put it on shorts, and it wasn't, so I've got to work it into a whole video so I can put it as a proper video. But I have a whole thing about trailers in general, but I think I'm gonna pick on horror trailers a lot in that video. Anyway, yeah, so together, I can't really think of anything else. There's probably something else coming up that I, like, do want to see. But I'm really comfortable just dealing with what's on streaming. So we just don't always watch a lot of, like, movies. But as far as television shows on streaming, or even anime, I have been watching quite a bit, because it's nice to, like, sit there and watch while diamond painting, and that's, like, those are two things I can do at the same time. Like, neither of them takes so much attention that I can't do the other. So, I watched through the entirety of... The title of this anime is I'm the Villainess, so I'm taming the final boss. I think that's the full name. There may be more words in there. But that was fun. I liked it. It's a little... I don't know, it might have been based on, you know, a manga or something already, or a webcomic. It's got very... There are a lot of, like, reincarnation webtoons and stuff, and I feel like there's quite a few, like, anime already. Like, that's a trend that fed back into itself. But yeah, she's reincarnated, although she remembers her childhood, but she wasn't in control in her childhood. She just suddenly remembers, like, as an adult, like, hey, I was just in another world, but now I'm in a video game I used to play. Pretty standard setup for these, as I understand. But yeah, so her character, the Villainess, usually dies. So it is about her goal of not dying. And there's, like, a first arc where she's just, you know, wooing the final boss, the enemy, the guy that is half demon, that is the half brother of the prince, who is the, like, main love route for the protagonist of the game. And it's, like, it's just super goofy and fun. Like, it's super goofy, fun. And then there's a weird second arc where they go to school. They go to a magic school for some reason. I mean, there's a reason. I just don't remember it. But yeah, it was just cute and goofy. So I enjoyed that. I made it all the way through that. And then I started that time I was reincarnated as a slime, which is... I don't know, I'm gonna say I enjoy it. It's wild. And it is, I mean, it's a harem anime. Like, the lead character ends up with a bunch of girls that like him, even though he's a slime. But he is a slime that at some point can take on a human body. So it's that. They collect the harem, but it's also that genre of anime where every genre of anime, and also, like, cartoon, like, because, like, My Little Pony Friendship is Magic style, every enemy they meet becomes their friend. And I know that that's not, like, a 100% true across all of My Little Pony, because I do believe, like, the villain from the My Little Pony movie, the Friendship is Magic movie, not the Smoos, not the witches from My Little Pony the movie, but My Little Pony the movie. You see why this is A++ for not just naming it something different or giving it enough subtitles. But yeah, the Friendship is Magic movie. I don't think they make that villain a friend, and they don't make Chrysalis, like Queen Chrysalis, I don't think becomes their friend. But, you know, like, they turn Nightmare Moon back into Princess Luna. They essentially befriend, Discord. I was gonna call him Chaos. Discord. You know, they, befriend Starlight Glimmer. Over in the Equestria Girls world, they befriend Sunset Shimmer. But it's like that. They're building... The slime has befriended a village of goblins, and at the same time a pack of some kind of wolves, and they start building a city, and people start by entering and being like, I'm gonna kill you, and then, never mind, we're friends. And that just repeats forever. I haven't made it all the way through the anime. And, like, there's certainly, like, questionable stuff. But, it's just absurd enough. It's entertaining enough to do while I'm doing, to, like, watch while I'm doing other things, diamond painting. So I've been watching that. And it has a school arc. There was a woman who may or may not have been this guy's soulmate. Messed up story short, she was dying, and her dying request was for him to eat her, and that's how he obtained the ability to get a human form, to turn into a human. No further explanation than that, really. It was technically her dying wish, but he did eat her. But she was a teacher. She had these, like, students they were pulled into this video game world, because it is a video game world, from the real world, or the other world. I don't know, because you can get there either by, like, going there intentionally, like, crossing over into this world intentionally, dying and being reincarnated into this world, and then there's people that are summoned into the world that, that's, like, a bad thing that happens to them, because they end up, like, having these powers they can't control and all of that. But there's like, a classroom of children that have been summoned this way, so they're, like, children who are doomed to die. He goes to become their teacher to try to help them control their powers so that they won't have to die. So even that anime has a school arc for reasons. I don't know, but I'm not through with the school arc. I haven't gotten through. I think the two anime are the things that I'm going to go into detail today, because I've been talking a lot, like a lot. Apparently, according to the timer, 43-ish minutes. I'm gonna, like, briefly list off some other stuff we watched, because we did watch the most recent season of Doctor Who. I have so many thoughts and feelings and fears, and, I will say one thing. Time Lords being sterile has always been canon. No, it doesn't make sense why he started out with a granddaughter, but, like, Time Lords being sterile, that is the thing people questioned about the finale. They're like, are Time Lords really supposed to be sterile? Yes. It is in the deep lore. Moving on. Oh, yeah, the newest season of Resident Alien is ongoing. It's not over yet. I am watching that. If you remember, if you've been around since last year, I did make a video eating ice cream and being upset that they had chosen to end on a cliffhanger when they had not, at the time, had a publicly secured 4th season. I am glad that they did get the 4th season. I still think that just in case it didn't happen, there could have been a better way to bridge that, to leave some of the story that you wanted to do in season 4, but also give that a potential closing moment at the end of season 3. But yes, I'm glad there's a season 4. I do think it's the last season. It's either this or they got, like, a 2-season contract and next season is the last season, but I think this is the last season. So, finish it up with an actual finish. That'll be nice. Like no ending is ever going to be satisfying. I think that's just the lesson. Endings are not satisfying. But some kind of an ending and not a cliffhanger would be great. Thanks. Also, recently binge watched the first 2 seasons of School Spirits, which should be coming back sometime soon. And I love it. I really love it. That guy, one of the characters is played by the guy who is the zombie in the Zombies franchise on Disney, and it is kind of weird to go from, like, binging a lot of School Spirits and seeing, even though in both series he's, like, playing a teenager, one of these series is aimed at, like, elementary schoolers or middle schoolers, and one of these series is aimed at not necessarily adults, but, like, a much more mature audience. Like, actual teenagers and adults. So to like, go from, seeing his ass in School Spirits to having to watch him go back onto the Disney Channel and be the goofy idea of what, like... But I guess, like, his character should be, like, 18 at least in that franchise, because they... Zombies canonically, I don't know, I guess we'll see with Zombies 4, which I think might actually be out, and I just haven't watched it yet. We'll see. But the third movie was their senior year, but then the cartoon, they canonically went backward in time and redid senior year with the aliens there the whole time. So, who knows what age they are. But they should maybe at least be college students, if not, you know, just legally adults. Like, well, we're adults now. But it's still, you know, it's still a kid's franchise, so, like, pinging back to that image of that performer is kind of wild, because I'm like, nah, but you were, like, you were doing, like, the hot guy thing. But now it's more of, like, back to the, like, heartthrob thing, which is different. Hot guy and heartthrob, different. Because the heartthrob thing has that teen implication of, like, you know, all the little teens love this guy. But, like, hot guy is, like, a whole, like, realm of, like, maturity and, like, adult or young adult. But, so I was just like, wild. And yet, both franchises, because part of this is the big conflict in Zombies, is that he wants to play football. He plays a football player. So, very much a typecast, eh? Anyway, I said I wasn't going to go that too far into other things, but whatever. I guess we're here. I'll go until my voice gives out. How about that? Which is only happening because this room... I should probably turn the fan on. This room actually closed off gets, like, weird hot. Like, I'm freezing in the rest of the apartment, but this room, especially if I close that door, but even if I don't, just gets hot. Like, it's just full of hot air. It's not because I'm here, because it should be, if I'm the hot air, it should be hot out there too, but it's not. Oh yeah, we're up to date on the US version of Ghosts, which, adorable. Love to see that actress, after another zombie thing. iZombie? It was iZombie. Yeah, love that show. Just, like, great performances all around. But I was just like, well, Ghosts UK is on here too. Maybe we should watch Ghosts UK. So, we started watching a little bit of Ghosts UK, which is, indeed, also funny. I can see why, it got, you know, sent off and remade in like 12 different countries or whatever, because I'm aware of like Ghosts France and Ghosts Australia, as well as the US version. I'm sure that there's more, because like this format is like so good, and translating it so that like the ghosts actually are relevant to the history of the area, like of the country that the show is being produced in. You know, I like it a lot. I like it. I like the concept. Clearly everyone else does too. I was one of the ones late to the party. But yeah, that's something we've been watching, been enjoying. I write down in my planner, like, everything, like, pretty much everything that we watch, and, I write down the stuff that I'm playing, like, on weeks, but I'll write on the week that we watch something, but I'll also go back and write, like, for the month, so I can go back and look, like right now, so I can say, oh, we watched this and this and in this month, because otherwise I won't remember. I might not even remember that I watched a thing, like, How to Kill Monsters. I might have totally forgotten that I had watched that, and not just, and that's not an indictment of the film, because it's not like it was forgettable, you know what I mean? It's not like it was unforgettable, but it wasn't, like, forgettable. It's just that I forgot it until I looked at the title and I went, yes, memories flooding back. I'm just one of those people. It's just better if I write it down. Okay, that was beyond enough rambling. I have talked for 53 minutes, and surely some of that is getting cut out because I stumbled and said weird stuff, and some of those minutes I was coughing horribly for no reason. So we'll see what the final length of all of this is, but it seems like plenty. Just a little update. Just have a video to put out, just to hang out with y'all. We'll try to we'll try to get some like more collected and intellectual experiences going on here, but also sometimes, as always, sometimes we'll just go based on vibes. Like right now, we're just vibing, right? We're friends, we're vibing, and then like next time we'll have like a weirdly deep discussion of something, probably. Anyway, that is all for today. Obviously, if you made it to the end of this whole rambling whatever, and you aren't already subscribed, you should go ahead and subscribe, because this is what a lot of my content is like. If you enjoy this atmosphere. And you can always, toss a little like on the video, just to tell the YouTube algorithm I liked this. I don't know why I got weird about it. Sorry. But yeah, all of those call to action things. There will be links to my social media and even my Etsy, which sometimes there are things available to buy. Sometimes there aren't, but sometimes there are things available to buy, which is a way to support me directly. My Ko-fi link is down there. That's another way to just like, hey girl, you look like you could use $1. Not that $1 would do it, but I do need to get my roots done. But there's a chance that I'll have to go all the way back to a natural color, so I haven't done it yet. Anyway, like I said, there are ways out there to support me if you dearly wish to, but as always, just watching the videos is like the best support ever. It just makes me happy to see the number go up. I will see you treasures next time.